being on the water. For me, it's therapeutic, it's calming, it has this openness, the air smells different. I have a whole psychological thing that happens to me on the water. Are you attracted to the water in that way, or is that just a me fetish thing?
No, absolutely I am. I think that's really common. I mean, there's a lot of science behind this. There was a book that came out a few years ago called Blue Mind, and it was a scientific approach to that feeling you're describing. And it's true, like, I'm not a doctor or anything or a scientist, but I feel the same thing. I mean, I get out there, it's just the best way to spend your free time, in my opinion. It really is, clears your mind, right? There's nothing else to do. Your phone is on the boat, you're in the water, And the other thing I really like about it is we often say internally that we're not competing against boat sales or even other boat clubs. It's like we're competing against other options where people can spend their free time. Right? Including your phone and Disney and so it's like one of the last frontiers where you get the people you love, you're in an enclosed space away from everyone else, and like you're just there to make good memories.
Down in the valley, moved up from the city, it's a new way of living and I'm trying to get used to it. 1 park coolers, half an ounce of an idiot, ordered a Manhattan and they call me a Cidiot. At first it hurt my feelings, but it's kinda got a ring to it. When you move to the country, they can tell when you're new to it. I'm looking at a place, but I'm trying to keep fitting in. It takes too long to be a local, so for now, I'm a Cidiot.
I'm Matt Zucker, and this is Cidiot, learning to live and love life in the Hudson Valley. Have you ever looked out on the Hudson River and wished you were out there on the water instead of just driving alongside it? Well, today we are dipping our toes in the boating lifestyle with Josh Rosella from Freedom Boat Club. Freedom Boat Club is the world's biggest boat club, and they're making waves right here in the Hudson Valley with 3 local sites spanning both sides of the river, in Ossining, Haverstraw, and Piermont. Plus, if you're in Jersey, like many listeners are, you can find them down at Liberty Landing in Jersey City. In this episode, we talk all about the lifestyle. I have a new obsession with this idea, dock and dine, because what's better than pulling up to a restaurant by boat? And I also learn what it means to go sandbarring. Whether you're a seasoned captain or a future expert boater, put on your topsiders and let's go boating. Here's my conversation with Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hey, hello, Matt. How are you?
Hey, thanks for coming on Cidiot. I'm really excited to talk about boating and boating clubs and what you guys are all about too, because I have a whole fascination with the water. I mean, I just love the Hudson and I love water and I just want to know everything about everything.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah. Well, hopefully I can help get you informed. And likewise, thank you for having me.
First about the water too, like how did you get into, like, did you like Aquaman or did you like Gilligan's Island? Like how did you get into the water business?
Gilligan's Island, yes. So I grew up in Western PA, like central Western Pennsylvania in the mountains, and didn't have a lot of access to water. So I was more of a ATV, woodsman, I guess. And so maybe the inverse of a Cidiot, if I understand the meaning there. I grew up in the sticks. But so what happened is my aunt and uncle are my partners, and I was working for a railroad there at about 10 years in, and I started asking them about some business ideas. I started asking them about that and, what they thought. They're very experienced in business, and they had a family friend who owned the Freedom Boat Club franchises in New York, on Long Island, and in Connecticut. And so they were already kind of exploring this, and they said to me, what about this? And so I went out and spent some time in Long Island at the clubs and a little bit of time on my aunt and uncle's boat. And we eventually, what sealed it for me, if I could just say this, we were with them in Delaware where they live. And we were on their boat, my aunt and uncle, and we pulled up to a restaurant called Paradise Grill. It's like one of my favorite places in the world. And a guy that I went to high school with lives out there at the time. And he was always posting videos and photos of himself and his family and friends at Paradise Grill, like multiple live bands right on the water. And so we pull up past it. It's like a Saturday. There's boats all over the sandbars. They have 85 slips at the restaurant. And we pull into the restaurant, and my wife and I just kind of looked at each other and was like, yeah, this is our life now, we're going to do this. And so we just fell in love with it then. And so once we made that decision, then I spent a little bit of time at Long Island clubs, and I had another kind of epiphany. I was working with the dock hands up there. We were cleaning boats at the end of the day. The sun was setting and we were eating like a chicken sandwich, for dinner on the docks. The sun was setting, yachts in the background. And it just really solidified for me that this is a life I want.
So really, like, it's a lifestyle more than just like the water per se.
No doubt. Yeah, I think it really is. I mean, it was an investment when you go boating. It costs money and time. And so I think you have to really love it. You're either wanting that lifestyle or not. But I do think it is definitely a lifestyle. I mean, it's the places you can go and the things you do are very different from any other hobby, I would say.
Even how you dress, it's almost like golf has a distinct look, and boating is like polo shirts, and it's very blue and very stripes. And do you have special shoes and stuff?
100%. Yeah, it's funny you say that. So when I first started the club, I realized I needed some new clothes for the reasons you just described. And I went back to visit my old coworkers at the railroad, and I showed up in Sperry's, like boat shoes, and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Boating, look at you." But no, you're right. I mean, it's shorts, and our dress code at work is very casual. It's fun. Shorts, a polo maybe, and some sun shirts or fishing shirts, things like that, and boat shoes for sure. Yep.
And maybe before we get into the business, we could just talk about like being on the water. And for me, it's therapeutic, it's calming, it has this like openness, the air smells different. Like I have a whole psychological thing that happens to me on the water. It's like a fascination about it too. Like, do you see that in people that want that, or are you attracted to the water in that way, or is that just a me fetish thing?
No, absolutely, I am. I think that's really common. I mean, there's a lot of science behind this. There was a book that came out a few years ago called Blue Mind, and it was a scientific approach to that feeling you're describing. I'm not a doctor or anything or a scientist, but I feel the same thing. I mean, I get out there, it's just fun. I was fortunate enough to visit a few of my friends in Florida over the weekend, and we took a boat out from Freedom Boat Club at one of those sites, and we were just at a sandbar, floating around, and it's just the best way, to spend your free time, in my opinion. It really is. Clears your mind, right? There's nothing else to do. Your phone is on the boat. You're in the water. And the other thing I really like about it is we often say internally that we're not competing against, boat sales or even other boat clubs. It's like we're competing against other options where people can spend their free time, right?
Right.
Including your
Right.
phone and Disney and right. And so it's like one of the last frontiers where you get the people you love, you're in an enclosed space away from everyone else, and like you're just there to make good memories. Usually people put their phones away and enjoy a few hours of their loved one's company. So I think
Yeah,
that
that's
does a lot for your mental state as well when you're on a boat with the people you love and, there's nothing else to do but enjoy their company.
yeah, nice. What about comparing like the Hudson River to like the water off Long Island where you were at first or elsewhere? Like the Hudson's different, right? It's this estuary, it goes two ways. It's just different than the sea. Like what is it about the Hudson that people should know?
No, it's a great distinction. So, I mean, I do most of my boating in Southern Delaware where I live now, and it's very different. I mean, very different waterways. I'm in the back bays there. It's shallow, right? Sandbars. So the river unique in a couple of ways. One thing, it's a lot deeper and not, no sandbars or anything like that. But like you said, you go one direction or the other. But I think one thing that's unique about the Hudson versus anywhere else, I'm up here today, actually, and it's just a striking place to be, right? Like every time I come up here, I'm like, man, this place is amazing. I mean, you have the city skyline view, which is just incredible. I'm at Jersey City now. But in the Hudson in the fall, I mean, it's like no other place, right? So you take a boat out in that environment where you have the rock face and, you're in that valley. I mean, it's just an incredible place to be. Whereas our other locations are flat, and sand, and they're beautiful as well. But Hudson Valley is unique in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. All the peepers that drive up on the roads in the
Yeah.
fall, maybe you should take a boat instead.
Well, they're both great viewpoints, but yeah, being on a boat is a little more unique, maybe.
Let's talk about the club because Freedom is a boat club, and I'm not as familiar with them. I mean, I've been out on like a random sail and a sunset sail, and if a friend like actually invites me on a boat, I'll always say yes. But like, how do boating clubs work? Is it like a golf club?
So it's you pay an entry fee. It's a private club. Pay an entry fee one time. You pay dues every month, and that gets you access to our boats, right? Which is the important thing that most people want. But in addition to just getting access to our boats, like what separates Freedom Boat Club from the rest of the pack is that we are the largest and oldest boat club in the world. We have about almost 450 locations, like we're a few shy of that, all across the world, right? So as a member of our club, not only do you get unlimited boating access at the location in which you sign up, you get it everywhere, right? So you get reciprocal access to every other club that's not in your home franchise group, meaning that if you join my club today, which you should, by the way, I'll send you the paperwork after the call. But if you were to
Okay.
sign up for our club today, you get unlimited access to all the sites that I own. But you would also get reciprocal access to everywhere else, right? So if you wanted to go to Spain or Australia or Florida or Seattle, right, Lake of the Ozarks, right, there's just about 450 locations that you can visit as a member of the club. In addition to just the boating, which is, the big thing in the club, we offer a lot of clubs inside the club, or a few, I should say. We have a Sea Sisters Club, which is for women. So women get together. They oftentimes take our boats out, but they do other things too. They'll go to a happy hour or a show or whatever. But it's just a little group inside the group where these women can create, lifelong friendships. We have a anglers club, we call it. So for people who fish, we'll put captains out on boats. We'll do little fishing seminars. So to get that fishing community together, we do that as well. And then we just have a number of events where we invite all members. They can come to these events. We'll do things like fireworks cruises on the 4th of July. We participate in a lot of parades on the water, things like that. And so we're trying to get our members together so that, they can meet other like-minded people and continue to have fun as a group if they wish.
And you mentioned like boats in plural, like canoes, sailboats, motorboat. What kind of boats are there?
Yeah, we use power boats, and there are maybe a few sailboats here and there, but for the most part in Freedom Boat Club, it's power boats from,
Oh.
let's say, 20 to 24 feet. That's generally the size of boat you would join a Freedom Boat Club and enjoy. We do have an elite tier membership. That's a bit of a newer offering that has bigger boats, right? And so that's kind of being defined in my own club. It's anywhere from 26 to 29 foot at the moment. And so, yeah, all power boats with outboard engines. It varies though, right? So if you went to a lake in Tennessee, you might find wake boats, right, for wake surfing. Or if you went out on the Pacific Northwest, you may find pilot house boats because the weather and the boating are a little different there. In my club here in the Northeast, we have boats like center consoles, deck boats, bow riders, pontoon boats, and we've had a couple of ribs, the rigid hull inflatable boats as well. But so they're mostly open deck boats for day boating. But some of the clubs, like I said, it varies. You may find a cabin boat somewhere or a wake boat or, things like that. But in the general 22-foot range.
Obviously, these are two very important questions. Can I bring beer and wine on? Can I bring my dog? Like, what are the rules?
Yeah, so there are a couple rules. You can bring all your friends. You should bring as many friends as the boat will allow. And you can definitely bring your pets, your boat appropriate pets, maybe not a bird or something. But yeah, we love to see the dogs. We do like photo contests for dock dogs, and we do some fun stuff like that.
Oh,
As far as the drinking goes, everyone on the boat, if they're of age, can drink. The captain should not be drinking and operating the boat, but
okay.
anybody else can enjoy.
And in terms of the public, I know some people that own boats or they own part of a boat, like with a couple of people. Like, what's the difference between owning a boat and joining a boat club? Like, why should I do one versus the other?
I would say the main difference is, well, there are probably several things, but the most important one to me would be that you don't have to maintain or repair your boat. You don't own the boat. We own the boats. It's not like a timeshare where everybody owns a portion of it. We own the boats, which means, we buy the boats, we maintain them, we service them, we pull them out of the water in the winter, we insure them, we're painting them every season, we're putting them back in the water. Our boats are the first boats to go in the spring and the last boats to come out in the fall or winter. And so you don't have to worry about any of that as a member, right? You just, when the season opens, the boats are in the water, they're clean, our staff is at the dock, our staff loads your gear for you, the boat is full of gas, you don't have to fuel it, you just make a reservation and show up and leave. And so for me, that's an important thing, because what ends up happening, I think, is our club members, they can go boating for an hour. It's worth it to them because there's no cleaning, there's no fueling, there's no prep. You just show up and get on the boat, right? So if you're limited on time, if you had your own boat, those sorts of things take a lot longer, especially if you're trailering it somewhere. But you have to wash it, you have to fuel it, you have to put it away, put the cover on, whatever. Our members don't have to deal with any of that. So any short amount of time can be enjoyed just on the water, right? So that's important to me. The ability to avoid maintaining the boat, repairing the boat, that's important to me. Other nice amenities in the club, we turn our fleet over every 3 years, meaning that you will never be on an old boat, right? We're turning them over every couple of years. So they're always nice, new, or like new boats, right? Which is an important distinction about you owning your own boat. You're going to be stuck with that boat until you get a new boat. And it's the only type of boat you have. And you're going to continue to go out of the same slip every time you go anywhere. In our club, we're turning over boats. We're trying out new models. We're doing interesting things. But you have the variety of boats, right? So you could take a center console out and go fishing one day. The very next day, you could go out on a pontoon boat and beach it on a sandbar and, enjoy the sandbar. Also, the variety of locations, I think, matters a lot too. You don't have to continue to go out of the same slip or the same boat ramp. If you want to make a reservation 30 minutes down the road at a new location and a new body of water, just do that. And you get to enjoy all your time
Yeah, how does it work
in the
so
water.
people don't know there's availability? Like, how do you know you'll run out of boats?
Yeah, so we have a reservation system app. So our members, they just make reservations right on the app. If you were to log into the app, it's got a lot of new features that are great. It will tell you within a radius what's available or around you, available for booking. And so you just get on, see what's available, book the time slot you want, and show up at the dock at that time. And as a club, so we monitor availability very closely. It's really important. Our members need to be able to get out, a reasonable amount every year. And so we monitor things like the usage of a boat, like what percentage of the time is the boat being utilized? And that's how we kind of balance our fleet out with the demand.
Brian and I really love sunsets. So I would love to go out on a sunset, but I would also be terrified of getting stuck out there in the dark. How do I time it so I get out there, but I get back before the darkness comes?
Really important. Yeah. So our members in Freedom Boat Club, they have to be back by 30 minutes before sunset. So when you leave the dock, your dock hand would tell you the latest return time is X today. And that just varies. It goes up and down throughout the year, right? As the sun sets earlier and later. And so they would tell you exactly what time you need to be back. And you would be able to see the sun coming down and everything, but you need to be back 30 minutes before sunset, but you would know exactly when that is. And so we have GPS units on the boats with trackers, right? So you can get to wherever you're going, just monitor that amount of time and give yourself the same amount of time to get back.
And what about like the first times I go out, I feel like I need to be closely tracked. Like I would need like a boat behind me, making sure I don't go askew. How easy is it to pick this up? Is it like getting on a moped or is it like getting on a motorcycle, which is much more complicated?
All right,
There's like a best
yourself enough credit. Yeah, no, it's a good question. Though. Thank you.
I can drive stick. I can drive stick. So that's something.
Hey, all right, there you go. You would be fine on a boat. So, but our captains, though, every new member, despite your boating background, so even if you've been boating for your entire life, every member goes through our new member orientation. So our captains will do a classroom or virtual, training with you for a couple of hours. And that just is about the rules of the road, what navigation markers look like and what they mean, things like that. And then you would spend in-person time with the captain on the boat, and they would teach you exactly how to operate the boat, exactly how to dock the boat. And if you're uncomfortable after that first training, you can come back for unlimited trainings until both you and the captain are comfortable in your skills. At that point, we would give you the certifications necessary to go make reservations.
Do you have a term for a newcomer, like a newbie, like a Cidiot? Like, is there a word for like a new boating person?
There probably are some words. I don't know, but I think in our club, they're just new members, so they're new future expert boaters. That's all.
Future experts.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. No, we just new member orientation.
Hope you're enjoying hearing about boating and Freedom Boat Club. Freedom Boat Club has a bunch of locations around the area, including Ossining, Haverstraw, and Piermont. Plus, if you're in Jersey, at Liberty Landing in Jersey City. Check them out at freedomboatclub.com. The water is waiting. Oh, and tell them you heard about it on Cidiot Podcast, and you'll get $500 off the entry fee. So my neighbor is a part owner of a boat up here in Prairieville. She loves it, and she's really curious about like how a boating club like participates in the community. She notices that like boat people like that live around like are very into it, and there's a certain nice feel for like self-policing and taking care of it and that kind of culture. Yeah. Does that manifest itself for you guys too?
It does. I mean, first and foremost, we want to be good neighbors wherever we are. So every marina we go into, we try to make the place better, right? Our dock staff will look out for not only our own boats, but for other people's boats. And likewise, it reciprocates in that community. That is one thing. There's a really strong sense of community in the boating environment. Like even in the marinas, people are always looking out for one another and each other's boats and things like that. But yes, we participate in several, and I'm sure lots of boaters do this, not special to us. But we do like river cleanups, and we do a lot of charitable causes like with mammal rescue groups and there's bird watching groups. And there's, we're always volunteering for things like that and for sailing events. And we want to be a good partner to the community. We're happy to leverage our assets, to help people out, to help them accomplish what they're trying to do, especially when it comes to the environment and safety on the water.
And when I go out on a boat before sunset, can you like go swimming or go parasailing, or is it like boat and boat back? Can I dock somewhere and then come back? How regulated is boating?
No, I mean, you can do pretty much anything you can imagine, we would let you do. So you can go boating. Yeah, dock and dine's very popular.
Dock and
Tubing,
dine.
water
That's a
skiing.
thing?
Dock and
Dock and
dine.
dine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing better than showing up to the restaurant on a boat. As long as you can dock it, you have been properly trained and you're one of the future expert boaters. There's nothing better than pulling up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
a
yeah.
back restaurant by boat. But so dock and dine's incredibly popular. Sandbars are very popular. Tubing, water skiing, just swimming. Some members will bring those chill pads, like the big floating pads. And they'll roll them up and put them on the boat. And so they'll just anchor the boat and splash around. All of that stuff's good. Fishing, of course, very popular. Only a few things, that we would prohibit.
I think I'm more of a dock and dine versus a fishing, but I probably know people that do it.
Likewise. Yeah. I'm not a big fishing person. I wish I was. I will be someday, but for now, dock and dines and sandbars. Man, I got 2 little girls and we love that.
What is sandbar meaning? You like go run around? What does that mean?
Yeah, but maybe intentionally you put the boat near the ground. Yeah, so sandbar. So in a tidal environment, like in the Delaware, so down in southern Delaware, we have the Rehoboth Bay, for instance, where I do a lot of my boating. As tide runs out, some of the little islands will emerge from the water, right? And so the shallow areas can actually be visible little sand islands. And so you would anchor your boat near there in a couple of feet of water, and you can walk in, and people will bring lawn chairs, and you're timing the tide, so you have several hours where that thing will be above water, and dogs will be running around, and people will be having fun, and so that's a really, really good time. So if you were to look at the Rehoboth Bay, you'd see boats just like all around this island, like 100 boats, anchored around this island, and they're all hanging out on the sandbar there.
And how late does the season go, especially in the Hudson Valley?
We go till November in the Hudson Valley. So end of October there, we close up shop. So the Hudson Valley's got a little bit of shorter season than, anywhere down south. Just gets cold and people stop boating. But we are open, I'll say, generally from like April till November. And some of our southern locations, we run into December. We try to stay open at a few locations for fishing people as long as we can. Those are usually the people that are out earliest in the season and latest in the season.
Yeah, but that's cool. But if you join and then you do it in the Hudson Valley, but you're going to go away, like that, you could go visit a club somewhere else when you're going on vacation anyway.
That's exactly right. Yep. So in those winter months, our members are still paying dues because we have to pay for the boats all year long. And so when we buy boats, that's how it is. So our dues are paid 12 months out of year. But in order to, if you wanted to experience the club in the winter, sure. Yeah. I mean, the Carolinas South are open year round to my knowledge. In Florida, there's like dozens of these clubs. There's a ton of these. And so, yep, they're open year round. And I mean, that's the place to be in the winter. So definitely, if you're a Freedom Boat Club member, just keep that in mind and, try to set something up in the winter and go enjoy one of these warm weather climates.
So what are all the things that like I would need to pay for?
Yeah. So the entry fee, start off there. You pay your entry fee to join the club. You pay your monthly dues. We have a peace of mind plan, which is optional, which would cover damage to the boat, right? So you have no deductible anymore. About north of 80% of our members do accept that peace of mind plan. I literally just gives them peace of mind to know that if they get stuck somewhere on a sandbar or need a tow or, break a prop, they don't have to pay for those things. Fuel, you pay for your fuel. You don't have to fuel the boat. Our staff will do that for you. You'll participate in a checkout process when you leave the dock. They'll take note of the fuel meter reading. When you return, they'll take another reading and they will deduct that, the difference there, and they'll apply it to whatever fuel it costs that day, right? So you just pay for the fuel you burn. You don't have to actually fuel it. And you could choose to tip the dock staff. Other than that, there are no fees. Sometimes when we do a really nice event, we will charge, just to be neutral in the event, we'll charge ticket prices. A lot of times we subsidize those prices. All that stuff's optional. But there are like no hidden fees. You may have to pay to park at certain marinas. We don't charge you for gas. We don't nickel and dime our members really at all.
And you need some cute outfits and those shoes.
Yeah. That could be helpful. Sure thing. Yeah, you may have to spend some money on boat shoes and hats and, whatever.
So in addition to being terrified of getting stuck out in the dark, which sounds like I can't because I'll have broken the rules if I'm too late, is what about like bad weather? Like what happens with bad weather? And like how much do you know like it's going to happen? Like are you warned or do you just wing it and see what happens and get back? I mean, it's a speedboat, so I could probably get back pretty fast. But still, how does weather work?
When you go through training, our captains will teach you what to look out for on the weather. Our members do need to be responsible for knowing a bit about the weather, right? But our staff also are very aware of the weather. When you arrive on site, we have, we call it our weather board. It's just a board we fill out every day, and it has things like tide times, the weather for the day, right? What you can expect for the day, prices on fuel, things like that. And so our staff is very aware of the weather. Now, let's say it's a very bad weather day, like small craft. If we had a small craft advisory and you're boating in an open water area, like there's nowhere safe to go, we would close the club on that day. We won't let anyone be, in any trouble. Now, if you were on the river and small craft advisory was down near the Statue of Liberty or something, right, you may still be able to head up north and, be protected. So we would let you out. Now, anything beyond the small craft advisory would just close. Like if it's a named storm or, a tropical storm, anything like that, we would be closed. Now, if weather's coming in, let's say it looked sunny and great, and we start to notice some clouds coming in, our staff would try to reach out to those members via cell phone, text messages, or calls and let them know, hey, you might have some weather coming in. And from there, we would recommend you could either get back, or if you're somewhere else, maybe pull up to one of those restaurants, just take shelter for a little bit. But you'd be able to make that choice then. But we try to alert you as soon as we know that it's happening.
Great. All right. So we both love water. We both don't fish yet. But for you specifically, what's your favorite way to experience the water, especially when you're in the Hudson Valley? Like, what's your shtick?
Yeah, I'm like a cruising guy. I really love cruising. The docking dines are, a favorite of mine. I try to hit one every time I'm out. And then, just anchoring. And I got to tell you, the best time I ever had, it wasn't in the Hudson Valley, but it was in DC. We operate a club in DC. I was just out with a couple of friends, had some nice cigars. We were underneath the Reagan, just anchored, planes coming in overhead, the monuments lit up, just sitting on a boat, enjoying one another's company. And so for me, that's it. I'm not like, I don't do any tubing and no fishing like we mentioned. I just like to enjoy the company of the people that I'm with and really just decompress and, leave my phone in my backpack and enjoy what's going on around me. So in the Hudson, I like just cruising. I really enjoy cruising up and down the river. West Point is amazing from the water. There's some really nice landmarks
yeah, that must
up
look
and down
so
the Hudson.
cool from the water.
It does.
It's dramatic.
Yeah, it really does. That's north of the Hudson. But when you come down to the city, I mean, our first day when we opened here at Jersey City, which is where I'm located right now, when we opened, I took a boat out with a few of our staff and we went up the Hudson a little ways, but the aircraft carrier that's there, is it the Intrepid?
Yep.
There's an aircraft carrier sitting there with the Concorde, right? First time I had ever seen those things, but from the water, I mean, an amazing vantage point to just see some really cool things in the city. The city itself is amazing to see from the water. We saw a cruise ship coming out. The Statue of Liberty by water is unbelievable. And so I just like the different vantage point and getting to spend.
And you're just allowed to you're allowed to just buzz around wherever you want.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, maybe not wherever you want. Now, Statue of Liberty's got a lot of very clearly marked, restricted area. But I mean, if you're within the places that you're allowed to be, yeah, you can go. I mean, take Circle Manhattan, head to the Long Island Sound. City Island's got some really nice restaurants on it. So a lot of very cool places to go.
I'm even thinking of a lot of places up here on the Hudson where you could duck and dine. I'm realizing that like in Kingston at the Roundout, there's places. Athens has a nice, any place, I guess there's a lot of restaurants along the river that I'm just realizing I could probably make a reservation at and go. Do you have to get permission in advance to dock at the restaurant or at that?
Well, you may, yeah. I mean, it probably varies by marina. Some marinas with restaurants in them, I think the restaurants will lease a few slips and they just leave them and they're first come, first serve. But some marinas do offer transient docking where you may have to set that up ahead of time and reserve a time slot, things like that. So I would call ahead, if you're not sure or not familiar with it. But yeah, I mean, there are many opportunities to do that and it's a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, that's so fun. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Down in the valley, moved up from the city. It's a new way of living and I'm trying to get used to it. 1 pot coolers, half an ounce of an idiot. Ordered a Manhattan and they call me a Cidiot. At first I hurt my feelings, but it's kinda got a ring to it. When you move to the country, they can tell when you're new to it. I'm looking at a place, but I'm trying to keep fitting in. It takes too long to be a local, so for now I'm a Cidiot.